I greet you, welcome to another one. So I've been seeing videos which have been making rounds by Dr. Abel Damina saying that he's responsible for the starting of Dr. Paul Enenche's ministry, that is Dunamis Church. Well, I'm going to be sharing Dr. Paul Enenche's side of the story, but for those who haven't seen the video, let's start by hearing what Dr. Damina said.
Many years ago, Pastor Paul Enenche, and I know so many of you know him, okay, used to be a member of our church. He wanted to go to London to go and read medical science master's degree with his wife, but they didn't have the money and they didn't have the contact. So they came to Uyo with their letters of admission. I still have copies of the letter. And they said to me, we know you are connected in London. We have an admission. We want to go to London to read medicine, so that when we come back, masters, we can start doing rural medical outreach. So please, if you can talk to your contacts to help, even if they can give us scholarship or sponsor us. So I told them, okay, sleep in the guest room. I'm going to pray about it tonight. So I got on my knees and the Lord spoke to me clearly. So I came to them in the guest room and I said, the Lord just spoke to me. You're not going to London for medical missions. You're not going to read medicine masters. The Lord told me it's time for you to start the church. You start the church and the church will grow, and from the church you will build medical teams that will go for medical outreach. And then he said to me, church where? I said, I hear Abuja. I gave him information. I gave him direction. He said, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. I said to him, when you get back to Jos, get on a bus, go to Abuja, and as you arrive Abuja, go on evangelism. And that was it. The Dunamis Church was born because I gave him direction.
Well, I've been going through social media to look for videos where Dr. Paul Enenche actually made mention of Dr. Damina's impact and influence in his ministry. Well, I have found none. If you have found such a video, do share it with me. I'll leave the Telegram link in the pinned comment. But this is what Dr. Paul Enenche said with regards to how his ministry started.
I got into the medical school and my passion became stronger than just being a doctor. For example, when we did anatomy, with anatomy and so on. When you saw a sick person,
yes,
you wanted to do something far beyond just medicine. I remember many times I was so helpless concerning the state of sick people. You know, I remember I would be sleepless when I got home. I remember when we were doing ward rounds. You know, when you come back on, when you do rounds in the clinic, and every time I noticed that a particular patient died over the weekend, for example, and I was wondering how I could feel like this and practice medicine. I was too emotional. I was too attached to the sick. I knew that it wasn't possible for me to continue like that and survive medicine. So that was what happened. And I began to cry out to God for his help. And then I began to see the sick healed as a medical student. So those were the kind of things that shaped me before entering into ministry. We came to a junction where I just felt, look.
Did you, after the school, did you practice your...
Briefly, like 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like 2 years.
And then in 1996...
At the same 96, November of 96, the church started on the 10th of November.
Well, this then brings us to the question that how did the ministry start?
My husband came back home. We were both practicing medicine in Jos. And he came back home and said he wants to go and pray. He has a leading to pray. He feels that he's at a junction. And he left to some mountainous areas in the Jos environs, Ghana Rock. He was there for 3 days. No food, no water, in God's presence. But when he left the house, I told myself, I saw his eyes, and this is a serious matter today. So I advised myself to also take a fast and ask God what he has in store for us, so that I'm not absolutely taken by surprise. And amazingly, when he came back after 3 days, the first thing he said is, what did God tell you? And I went, it was you that was going to go and pray. Supposing I hadn't prayed, fortunately, I I had taken the time to pray, and we both had parchments, we had books that we wrote what we had received in. And he said, you read yours first. So I brought it out and read what God told me. And he said, amazing. And then brought out his book and read it. It was virtually, do I say, word for word. And so the confirmation to leave Jos, come to Abuja to start this work was confirmed.
I gave him direction. He said, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. I said to him, when you get back to Jos, get on a bus, go to Abuja, and as you arrive Abuja, go on evangelism. And that was it. The Dunamis Church was born because I gave him direction.
But as I listen to these two clips, I can actually see that maybe the confirmation that they were praying for was actually a confirmation with regards to the prophecy which was given by Dr. Damina. Why they have chosen to remain silent about this, that's still the question that I have until now. So if you really go through their messages, the great ministers only talk about ministers such as Pastor Kumuyi, Pastor E.A. Adeboye, and then later he then talks about his father in the Lord, Bishop David Oyedepo. Those are the three main ministers that I have heard him talking about when it comes to who influenced, impacted, and shaped what his ministry is right now. So as to why he has not mentioned Dr. Damina, well, maybe they have their reasons. So I'll meet you in the next one. God bless you. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
In the year of 1979, I had encounters with the Lord. I said it on Saturday. God's servant Pastor Adeboye was in Utupo then, 78 and 79. A young man, we came up, but like young men, we just got influenced away again and just slacked down. But in the high institution in 1986, my life was going in a particular direction. And one night of the 12th of May of 1986, around 2 a.m., my heart was beating so fast. And I had a visitation, and the voice told me, if you die now, where are you going? I said, I don't know where I'm going. He said, but you can know now. Long story made short, within 2 hours, between 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., I rededicated my life to Christ, gave myself over to God in that 1986. It was on the campus, and I began to look for which fellowship. And I have a brother who is still a member of Deeper Life Church here today. And I remembered how he has invited us to Deeper Life several times. And then I looked forward to Deeper Life Campus Fellowship, then became a very fervent member of the Deeper Life Campus Fellowship. We will take buses from the campus to the church in town every Sunday. I became a member of the Deeper Life Choir. I was involved here, involved there.
Because your company affects your content. Who you hang around with determines what hangs on you. The best thing that God can do for anybody is to bring the right people into your life and to bring them early. I was an undergraduate in the university when I listened to our father's message titled Unveiling the Realities of the Supernatural Realms. It exploded something in me. I said, who is this person talking so ruggedly like this? Are coming from? And then God brought us into contact with him close to 30 years ago with my wife, after a dream, a vision in the night, where he was pouring oil on my head in the dream. And he came to town where we were in just then, and I looked for him. I said, this was what I saw in the dream. And he said, no problem, anointed me with oil, gave me his contact from then. When the church started, he was right there at the beginning. Be careful who you follow. It will affect what follows you. Every time you company with giants, you don't take dwarf steps. Beloved brothers and sisters, your source can affect your size. No matter how hard an antelope tries, it can't give birth to an elephant. So, sir, I want you to know that we are excited to be tied to your apron and excited to follow the God that you serve.
I'm saying all this to let us know that some people think that when they see a person, he just happened. No, sir. We have a history. We have a history. We didn't just happen. When you see me stand with intensity and speak on holiness